Back on Golf Today, time now for Manage Your Expectations, presented by Arccos. Let's welcome in Lou Stagner, Data Insights lead with Arccos Golf. Good to see you on this Tuesday, Lou. Let's start with being short-sighted or long-sighted for chip shots. We're talking short game on this Tuesday. Which is worse for amateur players?
Yeah, thanks, Damon. We certainly want to help all golfers manage their expectations on the course so they can enjoy the game more. And so much of that is having a better understanding of your game. With Arccos, you can track your shots for every round and then get actionable strokes gained insight about your game. We have a lot of data too. Arccos members have played over 11 million rounds and hit more than 550 million shots. It's the largest on-course data set in the world. So what does the data tell us about being short-sighted? As golfers, I think we all intuitively understand being short-sighted is going to hurt your score. And it's going to hurt your score anywhere from a tenth of a shot to a half a shot when you short-side yourself. And like everything else in golf, not every shot is created equal. So when you have an approach shot, in addition to noticing that the flag is cut near the edge of the green, there are other factors you need to pay attention to that will influence how difficult the shot will be if you short-side it. First is, what direction is the wind blowing? Now, typically, we pay attention to the wind on our approach game or our tee game, but it also matters when you're around the green. If you short-side it and that chip shot is 5 to 10 miles per hour downwind, that is going to make that shot about a tenth of a stroke more difficult. The next item to look at is the green going to be running away from you if you short-side it? Depending on how much downslope there is, that can add up to 2/10 of a stroke of difficulty. And the last thing you want to pay attention to is the elevation change between the green and the surrounding area. Anything more than 2 feet of difference, it's going to make the shot more difficult. And if you combine any of those three things, that's when you get a short-sighted shot that becomes really challenging. So in summary, short-siding it a lot is not going to be good for your scorecard.
I'm right with you, Lou. What about being in a bunker versus the rough around the green? We'll be watching TV all the time, and the players sometimes are mic'd or the mic is close. You hear them say, like, get in the bunker. I say get short or go long. What should we be saying at that point?
Yeah, you are right on point with that. So ideally, as amateurs, or every golfer, every level, we're hitting as many greens as possible. But for most of us amateurs, being in the bunker tends to be much worse than being in the rough. For example, for a 10 handicap player, from the same distance, being in a greenside bunker will be about a quarter of a shot tougher than being in the rough. That might not sound like much, but all of these fractions of a stroke will add up and hurt your overall score. So next time, you're right. Shout to get short, miss the bunker, because your scores are going to get better.
I knew I had something that I was right about this game. I was on to something, Lou. One more for you, though. Let's hit on what a lot of amateurs, I imagine, are thinking about. What's better, pitching wedge or lob wedge? Because I struggle with the lob wedge. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that's a great question. And, at Arccos, we record all sorts of data, including what club you're using to hit a shot. And when it comes to whether or not the average 10 handicap should use lob wedge versus pitching wedge, leave the flop shots to Rory and to JT. What was most surprising in this analysis was that regardless of the situation, so whether a player was long-sighted, meaning they had a lot of green to work with, or whether they're short-sighted when they had very little green to work with, the lower lofted wedge performed better than the lob wedge for almost all of us amateurs. As you start to get to be a better player and get down in single digits, lower single digits, near scratch, you have more options. But the rest of us, we really need to look at trying to use some lower lofted wedges around the green. But like everything else in golf, not everybody's the same. So I would encourage players to experiment to see what works best for them.
I'm not going to lie. It is a good feeling when you do open up that club and the bounce, interacts really nicely with the turf. But I think I'm going to lean more on that pitching wedge. Lou, great to talk to you on this Tuesday. We'll speak to you soon.
Thanks, Damon. We'll see you next week.
He is Lou Stagner of Arccos Golf. Still to come on Golf Today. We check in with the LPGA Tour as Gabby Lopez was back in the winner's circle over the weekend. The tour makes a quick trip to the Queen.